People discovered something odd in the river. Curious, a Dao tossed a can into the water, only for it to be instantly devoured by an unknown creature. Everyone cheerfully speculated it was a dolphin playing with humans, and they all threw their food and drinks into the water. Little did they know, this curiosity would soon cost them their lives. Suddenly, a Dao looked into the distance, frozen in place, as a massive creature, part fish, part lizard, charged towards them. People began to flee in panic. Those who couldn't escape were flung meters away. The creature, seeing so many prey, became frenzied. Meanwhile, a girl sat on the grass, engrossed in listening to a friend talk about a film, oblivious to the approaching danger. By the time she realized, it was too late. In no time, the entire square was in chaos, filled with fear and screams. A group of people rushed into a container house, leaving one woman outside. Just before the creature reached her, she jumped off the stairs, saving herself. Inside the container, however, it was a massacre. The creature entered, hunting freely as the other door was chained shut. The people inside began to shout desperately through the door crack. The woman realized her son was still inside and urgently asked a Dao for help. With the help of a foreign friend, they managed to unlock the door and save the remaining people. The foreign friend then threw a tile at the creature, but it had no effect, so, with a Dao's help, they lifted a stone block and hurled it at the creature. Feeling provoked, the creature charged at them. A Dao quickly crawled under a car, but the foreign friend wasn't as lucky and was pinned under the creature's foot, in grave danger. To save him, a Dao mustered all his strength and threw the stone block again, this time injuring the creature's tail. The creature let out a painful cry and began chasing a Dao relentlessly. During the chase, a Dao grabbed his daughter and fled. In the chaos, they stumbled and fell. When they got up, a Dao realized he was holding someone else's daughter. Shocked, he could only watch as his daughter was taken by the creature, which leapt into the Han River, swimming to the other side and disappearing underwater, leaving a Dao in despair. Helpless, a Dao was still mourning the loss of his daughter, Xuan, when he received news to evacuate quickly. The Korean military took over, designating the Han River area as a restricted zone. That night, the families of the victims gathered to mourn their lost loved ones. Looking at the uncertain fate of Xuan, the family was heartbroken. The situation worsened, and anyone present at the river incident was quarantined. It turned out the creature's attack wasn't just about causing casualties. A US officer who helped a Dao earlier was injured in the fight and infected with a mysterious virus. As a result, a Dao's family was quarantined. Late at night, a Dao, too hungry to sleep, sneaked out to find a can of food. Suddenly, his phone vibrated. A Dao answered, hearing a cacophony of noise, but he recognized his daughter Xuan's voice. She told him her phone was dying and she was trapped in a large, deep sewer. A Dao anxiously asked for her exact location, but the call ended abruptly. Then, a Dao called the police for help, but they were indifferent, thinking he was talking nonsense. Ironically, when Uncle suggested using call records to locate the position, the police dismissed it. After their plea for help failed, they planned to leave and rescue Xuan themselves. However, as soon as they started, a Dao's bright yellow hair gave them away, and their escape plan was discovered. They quickly fled and got into a car that was waiting for them. Father Lao Pu used all his savings to buy rescue equipment and 3 shotguns on the black market. Soon, the family of 4 was wanted online. Despite this, they were determined to rescue their relative. Finally, with their excellent acting skills, they disguised themselves as disinfection workers and successfully passed through checkpoints. Then, based on Xuan's information, they searched every high and deep sewer thoroughly. Time passed without a trace of silence, and the family was exhausted, cold, and hungry. They decided to return to their small shop to eat and regain energy before continuing the search for Xuan. The family began to imagine dining with Xuan, habitually feeding him, feeling warm and happy together. Meanwhile, Xuan was in stark contrast, in a dark, damp, cold, and hungry environment, with a cold corpse beside him. He imagined how wonderful it would be to be with his family. Suddenly, he heard the sound of a monster returning to its nest, so he quickly pretended to lie still on the ground. Fortunately, the monster didn't notice him and left its prey behind. Luckily, a little boy survived this time, just as Xuan was about to check the boy's injuries, unexpectedly. The prey heard a noise and returned. Fortunately, Xuan held the boy tightly and lay on the ground. Could he deceive the monster again? The man noticed something strange through the door crack. A monster was glaring at him. Lao Pu cautiously picked up the shotgun and aimed at the monster through the crack. With a gunshot, the prey went berserk, charging at them. The enraged monster used all its strength to topple Lao Pu's family's small shop. Lao Pu seized the opportunity, shot, and repelled the monster. When Lao Pu and his family crawled outside, they found the monster lying in front of them. The second son, upon seeing it, shot at the monster, but it got up and fled, cunningly pretending to be dead to deceive them. The family then pursued the monster relentlessly, determined to avenge Xuan-Shu. The gunfire attracted the attention of patrolling guards, who chased after them. The monster took advantage of this gap and hid in the water. As the shadow approached, Lao Pu told the children to leave while he took the opportunity to fight the monster. He took Adao's shotgun with one bullet left, resolute in his decision to face the monster, but as the monster charged ashore, Lao Pu pulled the trigger, only to find no bullets. Adao had miscounted, thinking he had fired 4 shots but missed one. Lao Pu calmly faced reality, waved to the children to leave, and entrusted them with finding the granddaughter. He was then knocked down by the monster. The children watched as their father was grabbed and thrown onto the riverbank, then disappeared into the Han River. Seeing his father die because of him, Adao was heartbroken, but with the guards approaching, Adao told his brother and sister to leave and find Xuan-Shu. He picked up a newspaper to cover his father's face, intending to turn away, but couldn't bear to leave his father. In the end, Adao was captured, the escaped Nanyi and the protagonist got separated. At this moment, Nanyi thought of his university classmate who worked at a telecom company, hoping to locate Xuan-Shu with his help. The classmate agreed to assist Nanyi. The two sneaked into the company under the cover of night, but access required the team leader's authorization password. The classmate went to the team leader's office, only to find the police lying in wait. It turned out the classmate had betrayed Nanyi for the reward money. When Nanyi noticed his classmate hadn't returned for a while, he stumbled upon a password link and decided to try his luck. Surprisingly, he successfully accessed Xuan-Shu's location. Before he could celebrate, the police surrounded him. Staying calm, Nanyi confirmed Xuan-Shu's location and cleverly created a short-circuit device, plunging the room into darkness. Seizing the opportunity, Nanyi slipped outside while the police were trapped inside. Before leaving, the classmate gave him a thumbs up, revealing he ultimately followed his heart and helped Nanyi escape the police. After fleeing the building, Nanyi faced police cars from both sides. He daringly jumped off the bridge, finally evading the police. Despite the pain, he sent Xuan-Shu's location to his brother and sister before passing out. Meanwhile, after getting separated from Nanyi, Nanju rested under the bridge for the night, avoiding patrols. He recharged his phone at a small shop and received Xuan-Shu's location, rushing to rescue him. After a long journey, Nanju arrived at the original site. As he approached, he encountered a monster. Just as he was about to draw his bow, the swift monster knocked him into a narrow pit. Luckily, the pit was too small for the large monster to reach Nanju. Unconscious, Nanju narrowly escaped danger. Meanwhile, Adao learned Xuan-Shu's location but couldn't convince the doctor, who insisted the virus had reached Adao's brain and forced a head surgery. Driven by the urge to save his daughter, Adao hijacked a staff member and drove off to her location. Nanyi, waking from unconsciousness, was aided by a homeless man. They made Molotov cocktails and hurried to the original site. Back to Xuan-Shu, he saw himself and the boy growing weaker. Unable to wait for rescue, he decided to save themselves. He tied clothes together, trying to reach the iron net above. Unfortunately, the clothes were too short, and even jumping couldn't reach. As Xuan-Shu pondered his next move, an opportunity arose. After eating and drinking, the monster lay down to rest. To check if it was asleep, Xuan-Shu threw a can at it, but it didn't react. Seizing the chance, Xuan-Shu reassured the boy to stay put, promising to find help. With a running start, she climbed the monster's back, grabbing the clothes. Just as she thought she succeeded, the monster's tail wrapped around her, gently placing her back on the ground, as if taunting her that escape was impossible. The boy, witnessing this, wet himself in fear. To protect him, Xuan-Shu ran back to the cave, only to be caught by the monster. To eliminate the monster, the government deployed biochemical weapons in the Han River, sparking public outrage and protests along the riverbank. The monster, seeing so many people, charged at them like it was energized. A couple in the protest first spotted the monster. The police began shooting at it, but Adao rushed to stop them, fearing they might accidentally harm the girl inside the monster's belly. Seeing the monster crawl ashore, the government swiftly released biochemical weapons. The monster writhed in pain on the ground. Adao rushed forward and found his daughter inside the monster's belly, pulling her out with all his strength. At this moment, Xuan-Shu was holding a boy. Seeing Xuan-Shu lifeless, Adao burst into tears. Gradually regaining his senses, Adao vowed to make the murderer of his daughter pay in blood. Then, Nanyi threw a Molotov cocktail at the monster, but it dodged every attempt. At the crucial moment, a homeless man stepped up. He quietly climbed above the monster and poured fuel all over it. Nanyi seized the opportunity, took out the last Molotov cocktail, and aimed at the monster. However, it slipped from his hand and fell behind him. Just as Nanyi was filled with regret, a spectacular scene unfolded. The protagonist, a professional archer, dipped his arrow in flames and shot it, hitting the monster's eye with precision. Instantly, the monster was engulfed in flames, its wails of agony echoing through the sky. At that moment, the monster looked towards the Han River, intending to escape into the water to extinguish the fire. Just a step away, Adao intercepted it. Using all his strength, he struck the monster's vital point. This was a father fighting for his deceased daughter. Finally, the exhausted monster collapsed. Adao, trembling, approached the boy, who then awoke. The daughter had sacrificed her life to protect the boy, who was an orphan. Perhaps it was fate's best arrangement. From then on, the boy lived with a Dao, sharing a simple and happy life filled with love.